Teach a Sunday school lesson on Mark 1:29-33. Teaching Sunday school does not be a hardship. The important thing is that you work towards having a deep understanding of the passages and Bible story that you will teach your students. Be ready with your props and visual aids, if you require any, and you be armed with fun activities to motivate your students in case any dull moment happens during class. Definitely, you should also be knowledgeable about the content itself. If the passage for discussion is Mark 1:29-33, here are some great tips for imparting the lesson to your kids. Know what Mark 1:29-33 is all about. Before you can effectively teach your students about this passage, it's important that you yourself understand what it's all about. Take the time to reflect upon it and pray about it before you start planning your lesson. If you're the one preparing the lesson plan, feel free to ask other church leaders to help you determine the important nuggets of wisdom from this passage. You could also consult with other Sunday school teachers to ensure that your lesson is in line with the rest of the other classes. If your church's Sunday school lessons are designed to be in harmony with the adults' preaching series, you need to coordinate with the senior pastor. Aim for comprehension and application. Apart from letting your students know about the details of the passage, you should also be sure that they comprehend it and know how they can apply the lesson to their everyday lives. Identify the nuggets of wisdom that you can derive from the passage. For this particular passage, there are two particular lessons that you might want to highlight: how Jesus performed miracles and healed the sick, and how Simon's mother-in-law immediately began to serve Jesus once she was healed. Let the students identify how they could apply the lesson to their daily lives. Highlight how the disciples had faith in Jesus, and in his power to heal the sick. Identify other instances in the Bible, which showed how Jesus was able to make the blind see, the lame walk, and the sick well again. Then ask your students if they or any of their family members are ill. Pray together for healing. Highlight faith. Emphasize that the Bible says that people need to have faith in God. With faith, God's power can be manifested in everyone's lives. Highlight service. Highlight how Simon's mother-in-law began to wait on them. Ask your students what this illustrates about her. You could probably derive answers such as she was so grateful for being healed that she didn't waste time serving Jesus and his disciples. Then, ask your students how they themselves could exhibit this quality of thankfulness to Jesus. Ask them also how they could serve Jesus in their own way. Encourage your students to relate the lesson to their own experiences. Ask your students if they've had experience of being healed, or if they've had any answered prayers recently. Ask them to share these experiences to class. Then, ask them how they could exhibit thankfulness to God for these answered prayers. When teaching Sunday school, it's important that you specifically pinpoint the lesson and objectives that you want to impart to your students. Make sure that your objectives are measurable, that is, there is a tangible way for you to determine if your students have understood the lesson. Finally, ensure that the lessons you teach are definitely rooted in biblical truths and wisdom.